Hello again, Russell County teachers. It looks like we have finally almost made it through what is hopefully the craziest year we will ever have in education. We've definitely learned a ton of new things, me included. And of course, Google products, especially Google Classroom, now play a huge role in how we manage our classes. So now that we're arriving at the end of the year, I wanted to share with you some tips and best practices on cleaning things up in some of our main Google tools. The first thing to do when you're ready to shut down your Google Classroom for the term is to make sure you have graded and returned all student work, because you are the owner of any submitted student work or files until you return them to the student. And this can become a problem if you happen to delete or clean up files earlier before returning them to the student. So to do this, from the Grades tab, you simply go to the assignment that you need to return, click the three dots, press Return All, confirm that, scroll all the way to the bottom of the next list, and click Return. Here's another measure that I strongly recommend before we move on to step 2, and that's to make a Google Sheets backup of your Google Classroom gradebooks. You'll have to do this, of course, for every class, but here's how you do it. So from the gradebook of any class, you choose one of the assignments by clicking on its name. Then on the next screen, go all the way over to the right at the top and click the gear button, and then choose Copy All Grades to Google Sheets. So what will happen is, if you have a lot of grades, this may take a minute or two. So as you see, it creates a Google Sheet for you with every grade that you have issued from every assignment that you have issued in that class. And this is good to keep as a backup in your Google Drive. The next task is going to be to unenroll your students from completed classes. This is especially helpful if you don't want them to have access to your content in the future. Now, it's very important that you ask your students in advance not to unenroll from your class, because you will do it for them when everything is done. Also important, don't do these removals until you're positive that everything is done. Grades are issued and everything. So here's how you do it. From the People page, you can select the students individually that you want to remove, or you can simply select them all with the Select All checkbox. Then go to Actions and click Remove. A box will pop up asking you to confirm removal. If for some reason you have removed a student too early, or they removed themselves too early, and you need to still work on a grade for them, you have to send them a new invitation and let them rejoin the class. And when they do that, all of their grades will show back up. As you probably know, a folder gets created for every class that you create in Google Classroom. This is where assignment documents and files are stored. These are all found under this main folder in your drive called Classroom. By the way, if you're ever cleaning up your drive, never delete this folder called Classroom, because it can be very difficult to recover it if you do. If you never visit these folders, this may just be optional for you, but some use this as a way to get a quick view of work and may choose to tidy it up. You can see that I have several classroom folders here under my main classroom folder. I don't recommend deleting these folders, but you are okay to move them within the classroom folder, perhaps into sort of an archive. So here in Google Drive, we will use an existing folder that you may have already created, or we will create our own folder now inside the main classroom folder. So the way to do this is you can right-click on your classroom folder and click New Folder. You can give it a name such as Archive 2020-2021. So here's my new folder. I can simply move them by dragging them and dropping them into that archive. I can select multiple classes at once by holding down the Control key and dragging them into that archive. Moving these folders around inside the main classroom folder does not interfere with their functioning within Google Classroom. Just like Google Drive folders are automatically created when you create a Google Classroom, a calendar is also created for every classroom. Now, I know that not everyone uses Google Calendar yet, but it is a great way to keep up with things like due dates. Now, these calendars don't automatically disappear when you're all finished with cleanup and you archive a class, so they can create a lot of clutter. You've got 3 ways to get to your Google Calendars. From here in the classwork view of a classroom, I can click the tab at the top that says Google Calendar. I can also click the waffle and choose Calendar, or you can simply open a tab and go to calendar.google.com. On the left, you can see all of your calendars that you've created or that Classroom has automatically created, or ones that you're subscribed to perhaps as a co-teacher. From here, you can check and uncheck certain ones from view, but it doesn't disappear from the list. To simply unsubscribe from a calendar, you can hover over a calendar and click the X. A confirmation message will ensure that you indeed want to remove it. Another way to unsubscribe is to hover over it, click the 3 dots, choose Settings and Sharing, and on the next page, scroll all the way to the bottom and click Unsubscribe, and you'll get the same confirmation message. Now, if you're the main teacher of a class and it's your classroom calendar, you can go ahead and delete those if you want. When you do that, it removes it for other subscribers. If anyone uses this at all, don't delete it before the school year is over, because deleted calendars cannot be recovered. So if you want to remove a calendar rather than simply unsubscribe, hover over it, click the 3 dots again, choose Settings and Sharing, go all the way back near the bottom again, and choose Delete. You'll get a confirmation message ensuring that you do want to delete it permanently. You'll need to repeat these steps for each calendar that you want to unsubscribe from or that you want to remove. For some teachers, an advantage to keeping subscribed to a calendar is that it can serve as a pacing guide for next year's assignments. Finally, when you're finished taking care of a class, archiving it will clean it out of your dashboard and sort of freeze it in a section called Archived Classes. This makes your classroom dashboard neater and easier to navigate. Freezing it in the archive means that while still enrolled students may be able to see it, they wouldn't be able to access anything or make changes. For the teacher, this class isn't gone for good when you archive it, because you can copy and reuse old posts and assignments from those classes actually. But before you do this, please make sure that all your grading and other work is completed in these classes first. Here's all it takes. In the classroom homepage, find the class that you want to archive, click the 3 dots, and click Archive. You'll get a confirmation message. If you ever need to unarchive a class, it's also very easy. Go click the menu icon, which we also call the pancakes or the hamburger. Scroll all the way down to the bottom to Archived Classes. So here's the class I want to unarchive. I click the 3 dots again and choose Restore and Confirm. So it's easy to see how something as useful as Google Classroom can become kind of messy if we neglect to manage it well. So I hope you found this useful, and I would love to hear your feedback if you have any questions or cleanup ideas of your own you'd like to share. Thanks everyone, I'll see you again soon.